Field theory. Why Ken's wrong. Field theory underpins all of Ken Wheeler's odd claims about magnetism, electricity, light, gravity, and metaphysics. Find out how his delusions about fields negate every claim he makes and why he's no expert in this or any other field. One accusation Ken Wheeler hurls at legitimate scientists is that they can't even define what a field is. Although he says this in virtually every video, he doesn't base this criticism on facts or evidence. The truth is, scientists have no problem defining a field. Here's the standard definition. A region of space in which a given effect, such as magnetism, exists. Example, a magnetic field, a gravitational field. That seems remarkably clear. For example, a magnetometer can detect a region surrounding a magnet affected by magnetism. That's a magnetic field. Similarly, a Geiger counter can detect an area around a radioactive object influenced by radioactivity. That's a radiation field. Field theory addresses four main types of field: magnetic, electric, gravitational, and radioactive. Scientists routinely confront the angry photographer with their definition of a field. His retort is that their definition may describe a field, but it doesn't explain what a field is. When asked to explain what a field is himself, Ken Wheeler calls it an ether perturbation modality. That's one of his trademark jargon phrases, so let's break it down, starting with the long but unscientific heritage of the term ether. Metaphysical speculation about a hypothetical substance called the ether has a long history. It dates back at least to the time of Plato and Aristotle. Plato imagined the ether as the shining realm of the gods, which God used in the delineation of the universe. Aristotle thought of the ether as a fifth element, along with fire, water, earth, and air, where the heavenly bodies orbited. When Christian Huygens discovered that light had wave-like properties in 1678, that seemed to confirm the ether's existence. Scientists were only familiar with mechanical waves at that time, so they assumed that light waves needed a medium in which to propagate, the way surf needs water and sound needs air. The luminiferous ether idea grew even more popular in the 19th century as scientists studied the wave-like nature of electromagnetism. For example, James Clerk Maxwell made a number of groundbreaking discoveries involving these wave-like properties. Ken Wheeler's attraction to field theorists from this period, like Faraday, Maxwell, Heaviside, Steinmetz, and Tesla, is stronger than any magnet. He refers to them as the gods of field theory. One of these so-called gods, Charles Proteus Steinmetz, described the early understanding of the ether to the New York Times in 1922. He said, "The mistake, which led to the hypothesis of the ether, was that wave motions were the only waves known at the time when the wave theory of light was proposed, and so the light wave was also considered as a wave motion, and the question asked, what moves in the light wave? And this moving thing was called ether." Field theory pioneers, including an aging James Clerk Maxwell, wanted to confirm the ether's existence. Unfortunately, he passed away before he could arrange it, so from April to July 1887, Albert A. Michelson and Edward W. Morley conducted an experiment to try to detect the luminiferous ether. They used a device called an interferometer that directed light down two perpendicular arms. They hoped to show that the light traveling toward the Earth as it moved through the ether went faster than light going perpendicular to that motion. Michelson and Morley found that light traveled at the same speed no matter what direction light or the interferometer went. Their experiment has been called the most famous failed experiment in history. It has now been formally confirmed 33 times by experiments using increasingly sophisticated tools and techniques. Ken Wheeler doesn't seem to grasp or refuses to accept that, unlike surf or sound, electromagnetism, radiation, and gravity don't need a medium through which to travel. Since we know the ether doesn't exist, we also know it can't have disturbances or perturbations. We have become familiar with waves which are not wave motions but merely periodic phenomena, Steinmetz explained. Thus, the alternating current is a wave, but nothing moves in it. The radio waves and light waves are electromagnetic waves, that is, periodic variations of the electromagnetic field in space. In his document entitled Fields, the angry photographer writes, "All fields are ether perturbation modalities." Explaining modalities, Ken Wheeler claims they're analogous to ice, water, and steam, being the same substance. Yet the angry photographer never lays out the categories of these ether modalities, nor does he successfully link them to real-life phenomena we can observe, like light, magnetism, gravity, or radiation. The Theoria Apophasis creator explains the complete lack of any evidence whatsoever for the ether by claiming that the ether definitionally cannot be anything. What this logical fallacy means is that the ether definitionally doesn't exist. As we've seen, the ether doesn't exist, so it can't have perturbations. Further, the Theoria Apophasis host can't accurately link his purported modalities to real-world phenomena or explain everyday experiences like light, magnetism, or gravity. Since Ken Wheeler is wrong about field theory, he's wrong about every scientific and metaphysical claim he's ever made. Let's face it, science, metaphysics, and especially field theory aren't Ken Wheeler's forte. He needs to focus on some other field.